Poppy Seastone greeted the world just after first light on 11 August 1998 inside a cedar-scented loft set on stilted pylons above the indigo sheet of Washington's Grayland Lagoon. A harbor seal barked from a nearby sandbar while her mother, a touring blues banjo vocalist whose lips pressed fireweed petals between spare strings, strummed a honey phrase that rattled chipped enamel bowls on their hooks. Her father, a title maker mechanic who sketches cloud herons onto shipping dockets, leaned so close their freckles nearly merged and promised his newborn that pier rumors, cafeteria cackles, and shop rails stalling at 14 would always shuffle aside for anyone bold enough to inhabit her outline completely. Hers had drifted through the Seastone bloodline since her great-grand rewove bait net into fair day gowns, so nobody worried when baby Poppy split a second cotton swaddle before the kettle even sighed. Granny Tallulah simply threaded a cell repair needle through the burst seams, patched them with patches cut from a battered kite, and chuckled that an extra palm of fabric costs pennies while shrinking a child can cost endless horizons of sunrise. Primary classrooms smelled of cedar shavings, blackberry buckles steaming from the lunch hatch, and briny mist sneaking through tilted lovers. Poppy already stood half a head taller than her classmates, eclipsing the projector beam whenever she mapped gray whale resting zones on the pulled-down atlas. One misty recess, two kids hop-skipped rings chanting "Sand Scout" each time her rubber boots thudded across chalk square. At dusk, she combed the rack line, collecting soda caps polished satin by surf. She threaded them onto fishing leader, stitched the jangling stream down her seafoam hoodie, and strode into first period at dawn, scattering prism freckles across blistered ceiling tiles. A substitute aide captured 10 shaky seconds on a prepaid flip phone, posted the shimmer to a fledgling video corner, and by lunch, 15,000 strangers had cheered the girl who welded teasing into lighthouse glow. Poppy scribbled one plump promise beside long division drills, clouds cluster only until you flash them bright enough to scatter. Saturdays belonged to the weather-beaten pier where her mother's banjo slides, tangled with diesel coughs from dory engines, skillet sizzles from clam cake stalls, and gulls quarreling over herring heads. Shop jeans seized at Poppy's thighs, so she swapped tip jar quarters for a sun-bleached gill net, unraveled it into rope, crocheted high-rise culottes, sprayed puffin silhouettes in squid ink, and posed at sherbet sunset against rust-striped pilings while her cousin snapped grainy frames. Each image filtered into an online diary called Lantern Drift. The very week a photo-share app flickered across patchy coastal towers. Captions skipped between dock slang and frank truths like "curves anchor gust steadier than seawalls." A fortnight before her 16th birthday, 50,000 unseen hearts were tapping little hearts under her mango-lit posts, proof that glowing rectangles hush cafeteria whispers faster than any vice principal. A shoreline scholarship lifted her south to Oregon State. Daylight disappeared in wave flume labs while nights belonged to a 24-hour chowder cart glowing neon guava under wind-whipped cedars. The heat lamp doubled as ring light. Between salmon orders, she filmed 90-second reels, folding parchment into seaweed barrettes while decoding dart rotation in half-lecture snap, half-shoreline hush. One upload laid harbor porpoise whistles on a lo-fi shuffle while she chain-stitched reflective anchor braid into thrift denim, and 47 hours later, view counters leapt past 1.3 million. Pacific-style bloggers crowned her the chowder couture, though every sponsor pitch still stopped dead at size 16. She tucked each deck into a folder tacked shrinky nets, wiped dill butter from her cuff, and served another bowl. Early Storm Prep Week delivered an email bearing the Columbia Sportswear crest. Wish she co-designed a spray shell capsule titled Lagoon Pulse. Poppy answered with 3 peer firm terms: patterns running to 60-inch hips, half the crew hired from community college sewing tracks, and 10% of net profit pledged to Eelgrass Nurseries from Coos Bay to Crescent City. Columbia signed before dawn tinted the beaker's road. The shoe unfolded on a tide-stripped sandbar where newborn plovers sketched commas towards mirror water. She guided paddleboarders of every outline across glass ripples while a drone carved lazy infinity ribbons overhead. When the lookbook went live, extended size jackets vanished in 42 hours across 32 nations, and Lantern Drift broke the 700,000 mark Pause with me for our first gentle invitation. If Poppy's story already sparks that salt spray beat inside your ribs, tap subscribe right now. One feather press locks your rail-side seat so next week's voyage lands in your feed ahead of algorithm drift. Afterward, dive into the description to find a discreet link that maps an evidence-based path to genuine romance. The exact playbook countless views rely on to draw real intrigue from every conversation. Spotlight shimmer tugged rumor cormorants into flight. A clickbait vlog claimed Poppy cinched metal plates round her waist beneath lagoon post shells. At dawn, she paddled a cedar board past eelgrass ribbons, planted bare feet in linen shorts and sports bra, traced each silver stretch line with crushed bougainville powder, and let her mother's banjo tear a blue riff so raw pelican stalled mid-glide. 10 million viewers reshared that pillow proof, dusting fuchsia pollen across their own curves until gossip slid under the slack tide. Chowder car wages, braided with capsule royalties, and whipped into coastlar cream, a cloud-like butter blending spruce tip custard, kaffir lime oil, and mica sparks that glow seashell white in any flash. 19,010s cooled on her father's chart bench, lids tied with braided long line, each tag stamped moisturize your horizon. Inventory drained in 83 minutes, raising $198,000. 20% seeded beacon grants, shipping industrial surgers, and underwater microphones to plus-size teams in shoreline schools from Tillamook to Trinidad. 8 months later, 37 grantees streamed a floating fashion and dolphin harmony showcase aboard a retro purse-seiner strung with solar lanterns, sunrise colors spilling into classrooms from Kingston to Kyoto. Astoria Pier Fashion Night forged a brand new jetty legend when a backstage blower shredded her sapphire mesh gown from hip to knee 90 breaths before curtain. Poppy ripped neon dock rope off a rig brace, laced the gap-like boot hooks, and walked the planks as though the splice had glimmered in every sketch. Camera shutters cracked like kettle corn. Vogue Cascadia tagged the fixed rope, Cadence Rescue, and another million lantern sparks lit before brass bands tuned a chord. A jilted egg leaked clips implying she demanded crab tower banquets and chauffeured skiffs for her rescue otter Ripple. She posted the chain in full: refillable water urns, lentil stew for crew, caption monitors for deaf stylist, then routed that month's affiliate tide, $134,000 into biodegradable crab trap pilots off Yakina Head. Fans echoed her pure oath receipts shine wider and brighter than rumor grit, until whispers fell flat like spent foam. Family remains her compass line. Twice a month, she streams porch line grooves, mom bending soulful chords beside a propane griddle, dad reading cloud haiku, Poppy flipping thrift denim, while Ripple waddles loops through powdered sugar drifts. One broadcast soared beyond 9 million viewers when the otter sneezed glitter on the lens. A Maritime Wildlife Trust sponsors each session now, tagging rehabilitated otters with solar beacons financed by Coast Lark Cream. Cream proceeds have scanned beyond 12 million before Solstice 2. She leased a dormant bait shed, carved skylights through corrugated tin, hired furloughed deckhands and design grads to whip custard and nut lids by hand during midday funk sets. Auditors pressed for shrink bands. She repeated Granny Tallulah's creed, fingers store legend longer than plastic clamps, and rope tie stayed. Beside her feet speaks raw sky. Basalt headland portraits rest beside chowder cart selfies, captioned same sky, different tide. She shares breath loops captured in tide caves, printable resilience sheets in English and Samish, discount code for sliding scale therapy tucked 3 swipes deep. 140,000 readers call her shoreline candor their first calm harbor. Community rides glitter under crushed shell dust. Hundreds pedal sunset causeways wearing coastline cream on clavicles, LED kelp tassels spinning from spokes. Ticket phones swell beacon grands and raise wheelchair snorkel lifts over freshwater springs. Chowder huts simmer late, clam bowls climb 15% on ride nights. Poppy leads every lap on a vintage cruiser with Ripple plush clipped 4, pausing to lace any rider's drifting sneaker. She is polishing currents keep names, due next spring in 11 languages, while a documentary crew follows her blueprint to weld retired buoy chains into floating maker labs for island schools. Puma's YT Wave Lantern sneaker slides ashore next quarter, threaded with reflective rope, cushioned by algae foam, steering 10% of revenue into beacon nurseries hugging the Pacific Arc. Second moment of reminder, drifts on the breeze. If your subscribe badge still shines crimson, turn it calm gray. Now, one touch secures the next tide in your notifications long before algorithm cross currents can twist the root. And remember that love link in the description stands ready whenever your own heart wants to set sail. Late summer light fades, playback nears, slack water, fresh tins of coleslaw cream, beacon grant portals, tonight's Porchline playlist, and the trusted compass guiding thousands from hello to spark wait in the description, open and free. If the soda cap spine shimmer rope lace down rescue or ripple glitter sneeze nudged even half a grin, hit like, send your brightest ripple into the comments, and share this passage with a friend whose sails hang limp. Every curve redirects currents, every scar refracts lighthouse beams, and the coast bows to anyone who plants firm boots on the pier and greets tomorrow eyes bright. Third gentle push before lanterns dim. Subscribe right now, claim your rail, tap the love link below for the most infallible way to inspire love, and meet me on the next rising tide when another story glints just beyond the breakers and courage speaks your name all over again.